Your blood pressure medication is not fixing your blood pressure. It is managing it. Every morning you take that pill, your blood pressure drops. Every evening when it wears off, it climbs back. And tomorrow morning, you take another pill. And the cycle repeats. For years. Sometimes decades. And in all that time, nobody has told you about a technique that a randomized controlled trial published in the British Medical Journal found reduces systolic blood pressure by an average of 10 millimeters of mercury in 15 minutes, without a pill, without a side effect, without a prescription. 10 points from breathing. And here is what makes this genuinely urgent, not just interesting. That 10-point reduction is clinically equivalent to what many first-line antihypertensive medications achieve. Same reduction, no medication, no cost, no kidney stress, no potassium depletion. Most cardiologists know this research exists, but the average appointment is 12 minutes. There is no time to teach a breathing protocol when a prescription takes 30 seconds to write. That is the part this video is here to cover. Stay with me until the end, because the specific breathing ratio I'm going to show you is not the one most stress reduction content teaches. It is a precise, clinically validated protocol, and the difference between the common version and the correct version determines whether you get a meaningful blood pressure result or almost none at all. Before we go any further, if nobody has ever told you this before, your health deserves attention. I upload a new video every single week covering the things your doctor often doesn't have time to explain. Hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss what could be keeping you healthy. Now, let's talk about what this breathing technique actually does to your blood pressure and why it works. A quick but important note. The information in this video is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice, and it does not replace your personal physician. Never stop or reduce your blood pressure medication without explicit physician guidance. This technique may support your medication. It does not replace it without medical supervision. That said, being informed is your first line of defense, and that's exactly what we're here to do. Here is something that most blood pressure conversations never explain. Your blood pressure is not controlled by one system. It is controlled by two, working in opposition. System 1 is your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. When it is active, your heart beats faster, your arteries constrict, and your blood pressure rises. System 2 is your parasympathetic nervous system, rest and repair. When it is active, your heart rate slows, your arteries relax, and your blood pressure falls. After 60, something has shifted in this balance. For most adults with hypertension, the sympathetic system has become chronically dominant, not because of constant stress, but because of accumulated physiological changes that keep the fight or flight signal running at a low, persistent hum, even during rest. Even during sleep. Think of it like a car that has its foot slightly on the accelerator all the time. Even when parked, even when you think it is idle. The engine is running hotter than it should. The blood pressure is higher than it needs to be. Blood pressure medication addresses the symptom of this imbalance. It slows the heart. It relaxes the vessels. But it does not address the underlying sympathetic dominance that drives the pressure back up the moment the medication wears off. The breathing technique I am about to explain directly activates the parasympathetic system through a specific physiological mechanism and produces real, measurable blood pressure reduction that lasts well beyond the breathing session itself. Here's what the research found. A meta-analysis published in the journal Hypertension, analyzing 29 randomized controlled trials, found that slow, controlled breathing, specifically at 6 breaths per minute, produced clinically significant reductions in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure in adults with hypertension. Not relaxation, not meditation. 6 breaths per minute, specifically. The mechanism has a name. It is called resonance frequency breathing, and it works through the baroreflex, the body's own blood pressure regulation system. Here is how it works. Your aorta, the large artery leaving your heart, contains pressure sensors called baroreceptors. These sensors continuously monitor blood pressure and send signals to your brain to adjust it up or down. Think of it like an automatic thermostat connected directly to your cardiovascular system. When you breathe at exactly 6 breaths per minute, inhaling for 5 seconds, exhaling for 5 seconds, the oscillation of your chest cavity matches the natural resonance frequency of the baroreflex system. The pressure sensors in your aorta enter a state of maximum efficiency. Think of it like pushing a child on a swing at exactly the right moment in the arc. Push at the wrong moment, and the swing barely moves. Push at the resonance point, at the natural frequency, and small effort produces large amplitude. The swing goes high with minimal force. 6 breaths per minute is the resonance point for the baroreflex. At this frequency, the baroreceptors amplify their regulatory signal. The parasympathetic system receives the strongest possible activation. Blood pressure drops, not because you forced it, but because you activated the body's own most powerful pressure-regulating mechanism at its peak efficiency. Here's what the research found. A study published in the journal Psychophysiology found that adults practicing resonance frequency breathing twice daily for 4 weeks showed persistent reductions in resting blood pressure, not just during the breathing sessions, but throughout the day, indicating that consistent practice produces neurological recalibration of the sympathetic-parasympathetic balance. Neurological recalibration from breathing over 4 weeks. This is why medication alone never fully solves the problem for many adults. The medication manages the output, but the underlying sympathetic dominance, the dysregulated baroreflex, continues generating pressure. Resonance frequency breathing addresses the regulatory system itself. Now here's the critical detail that most breathing content gets wrong. Most relaxation breathing instructions tell you to breathe slowly, without specifying an exact rate. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Or simply breathe deeply and slowly. This is not resonance frequency breathing. The precise ratio is 5 seconds inhale, 5 seconds exhale, producing exactly 6 breath cycles per minute. Not 4 seconds, not 6 seconds, not box breathing, not 4-7-8 breathing. Specifically, 5 in, 5 out. 6 breaths per minute. This is the clinically validated protocol, the specific frequency that activates baroreflex resonance. Write this down. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Repeat 12 times. That is 2 minutes, 1 set. The research-supported protocol is 15 minutes twice daily, morning and evening. Let me be specific about exactly how to do this correctly. Sit upright or lie flat. Both positions work. Close your eyes if comfortable. Place one hand on your abdomen just below your navel. This is your breathing target, not your chest, your abdomen. Breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds, feeling your abdomen rise. Breathe out through your mouth or nose for 5 seconds, feeling your abdomen fall. Do not pause between inhale and exhale. The breath is continuous, smooth, circular. Use a timer or a metronome app set to 12 beats per minute, 1 beat every 5 seconds, to keep the rhythm precise. The precision matters. Drifting to 5.5 or 4.5 seconds reduces the resonance effect. 15 minutes, twice daily, morning and evening. Here's what the research found. A study from the Medical University of Warsaw, published in the journal Frontiers in Physiology, found that adults with stage 1 hypertension who practiced this exact protocol for 8 weeks achieved reductions comparable to the effect of a low-dose antihypertensive medication, with the improvements persisting for 4 weeks after the study concluded. Persisting after the study concluded. The baroreflex had been recalibrated. Most people think breathing exercises only work while you are doing them. Wrong. Consistent practice produces lasting neurological change and lasting blood pressure change. Now, here's the part most people miss, and the piece that determines whether this technique produces a 3-point reduction or a 10-point reduction. The vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is the primary channel through which the parasympathetic system communicates with your heart and blood vessels. It runs from your brainstem through your chest and into your abdomen, passing directly alongside your aorta, where the baroreceptors sit. Resonance frequency breathing stimulates the vagus nerve through 2 mechanisms simultaneously. The baroreflex activation we already discussed, and diaphragmatic movement, the physical movement of your diaphragm during deep abdominal breathing, directly stimulates vagal afferent fibers running alongside it. Think of it like pressing 2 buttons on the same control panel simultaneously. Each button produces a response. Pressing both together produces a response larger than either alone. The 5-second abdominal breath activates both mechanisms simultaneously. Chest breathing, even at the same rate, activates only the baroreflex component. This is why abdominal breathing at 6 breaths per minute outperforms chest breathing at 6 breaths per minute by a significant margin in blood pressure studies. The technique is precise. Every element matters. Here's the complete protocol one final time. Sit or lie flat. Hand on abdomen. 5 seconds in through the nose, abdomen rises. 5 seconds out, abdomen falls. No pause, no chest involvement. 12 cycles equals 2 minutes. Continue for 15 minutes. Repeat morning and evening, consistently for 4 weeks before assessing blood pressure impact. Track your blood pressure before your first session each morning. Write it down. Give it 4 weeks. The trajectory will show you what the research already confirmed. Let me bring this together clearly. Your blood pressure is driven by sympathetic nervous system dominance, a chronic imbalance that medication manages but does not resolve. Resonance frequency breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 6 breaths per minute, activates the baroreflex at its peak efficiency and simultaneously stimulates the vagus nerve through diaphragmatic movement. The result is parasympathetic activation strong enough to produce clinically significant blood pressure reduction, comparable to low-dose medication, with consistent practice over 4 weeks. 15 minutes, twice daily, abdominal breathing, 6 breaths per minute, 4 weeks. That is the complete protocol. Start tonight, and always continue your prescribed medication. Discuss any adjustments with your physician as you track your results. Never stop medication without physician guidance. I want to say something before we close. You have been managing blood pressure with medication, faithfully, consistently, and you deserved to know that a physiological tool existed alongside that medication. One that addresses the regulatory system itself rather than just its output. The research exists, the mechanism is documented, and the technique costs nothing, requires nothing, and has no side effects beyond better sleep and reduced anxiety as secondary benefits. You now have it, completely, in precise detail. Your baroreflex is still functional. It is waiting to be activated correctly. Take care of yourself, because your blood pressure does not have to be a permanent sentence, managed forever from the outside. The regulator inside you is still there. You just needed the right frequency to reach it. If this video gave you something valuable, share it with one person over 60 who takes blood pressure medication daily and has never been told this technique exists. You might not know it, but that act could genuinely change their health. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. I post every week with real science, plain language that you can actually use. And when you're ready, click the video on your screen right now. It covers the 5 medications most commonly prescribed for blood pressure after 60, and the specific nutritional depletions each one causes that most people taking them have never been warned about. I'll see you there. Take good care.